Alright guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to be trying out the A229 Pro dash cam. This is the flagship 3-channel dash cam from Viofo, and they've sent this out to me for testing, and I was very curious how this would perform. I've seen a lot of comparisons out there with Blackvue as well as other dash cams on the market, and as you guys know, I am a Blackvue affiliate, so I've been running Blackvue dash cams for about the past 2 or 3 years now, and so I was kind of curious, how this would stack up. It's definitely a different form factor, definitely a different look, but they offer a lot of the same features and basically are trying to step up to the plate to show how their performance compares. So we're going to go ahead and unbox the dash cam to see what it comes with. We'll install it on my car and test it for a couple days, and then we'll go over the results with you and give you guys my final thoughts. So hopefully you guys find this video useful. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. All right, so here's everything that we got with our new A229 Pro. The first thing, of course, is the actual dash cam itself. This is the 3-channel dash cam option, so you will be able to film the front, the rear, and the interior of the car all at the same time, and it will record all of the data at the same time. There are other options for 2-channel or just 1-channel if that's all that you're interested in, and those come in at a cheaper price point. But this is kind of the top of the line one, so you can get as much coverage and recording as possible. You also can get an SD card, which of course you're going to need in order to actually record the video. It has this hardwire kit so that instead of using the cigarette lighter, you can install it and hardwire it to your fuse box, which I do recommend. And then it also comes with this wireless remote control, so you can use this for a couple of the different features. Now, I guess right off the bat, I'm kind of surprised that all of this is separate. This is something that you kind of get all included with a Blackvue dash cam. But I also anticipate if you already have a Viofo dash cam, then upgrading it is a little more simple because you're probably not replacing all of these pieces. You can just transfer your SD card, reuse the same hardwire kit, and that makes it a little more simple. So that is one difference. This is more kind of a la carte depending on what you need, whereas with my Blackvue dash cams in the past, it pretty much always comes with all of these things. So we're going to move the accessories to the side, and let's go ahead and open up the box. All right, now this packaging is really nice. You can see the Viofo is kind of like embossed in there, so that's definitely a lot nicer than I was considering. And we can open it up. All right, yeah, this packaging definitely feels a lot more premium compared to just like the cardboard that you get with a Blackvue dash cam. I think this looks a lot nicer. It does give you this really clean overlay so you can see how all the wires connect. Obviously in your car, you're going to be tucking everything, but this just gives you an overview on what you need in order for it to work. So everything works with this main kind of like head unit, if you will. The power cable goes to it, and then it has one wire going to the rear camera and one wire going to the optional interior camera. And then here they are, very, very nicely wrapped and packaged. Actually, I'm really impressed with this to make sure the camera stays clean and everything. But so here's the screen for the main head unit, and then it's got your tape to connect it onto your windshield, and then the actual camera that it'll record with. And this does rotate a little bit, so depending on the angle of your windshield, you can adjust this so it's pointed in the direction you want it to. All right, now let's look at these two. This is kind of hard to pull out, but because the packaging is so nice, we'll give it a pass. All right, so this looks kind of like a similar size to the Blackvue dash cams. This is the interior one, because of the infrared light, so that'll help it record at night. But otherwise, it's pretty much like a similar form factor. The swivel feels good. It's got a bigger connector for sure. They use like USB cables for everything versus the optical cables on the Blackvue, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, the size isn't that much different. I think from that standpoint, it's pretty much the same. And then let's pull out the rear camera. I'm assuming this is the same as well. Yeah, so pretty much the same size, just, you know, a different design to make it work. And like I said, the USB cable instead of the optical cable, but otherwise something that shouldn't look too different from what you're used to. But yeah, I mean, this is probably the main thing. I think this is going to be my biggest problem, is just how big this is, especially with the Blackvue box cameras, that all the cameras are basically this size. I'm becoming a fan of those, and this just being so bulky, I'm not sure how I'm going to like it mounted up on my windshield. But I've heard some good reviews about the picture quality, not going to lie. So I'm interested to see how all of that looks. So let's go ahead and get it installed on the car. Before we do that, there is more under here, I just realized. So, yeah, we've got all of our paperwork. Let's see. Oh, I've heard about this. So this is actually really nice too. So this can actually be mounted onto your windshield, and then you mount this onto it. So when you want to remove it, sometimes there's a bunch of like sticky residue and stuff left over from the 3M tape, and you can just peel this off of your windshield, and that like won't leave a trace. This is very convenient. I wish Blackvue dash cams came with this, because that's something I always have to deal with when I'm switching them, is all the tape and stuff. You've got to like scrub it off to make it clean. All right, and yeah, so here are all the wires and everything. So some 3M tape, the wires to plug in the cameras. So it does come at least with the cigarette lighter. If you want to install it that way, it comes with the cigarette lighter attachment. But if you want the hardwire kit, then you have to buy that separately. It comes with this lens. I think this is to reduce glare, I believe. I've heard some good things about it during the day, not great things at night. So I'm probably not going to use this because it can sacrifice video quality in certain scenarios, but it definitely can help in others. And then, yeah, trim tool and another cable. So yeah, overall, everything that you need to install it at a base level. I'm still, you know, just going to use the cigarette lighter for now for testing purposes, but I do feel like it would be nice if it came with the hardwire kit and everything that you needed to fully install it and get it working out of the box. But no worries. Hopefully, I think the picture quality should help make up for that. So let's go ahead and test this out. All right, so we're back, and at this point we have had the A229 installed for a little while, and I've been doing some testing, and I think I'm finally ready to share my thoughts. So starting off with the install, it was very straightforward. Although the A229 is designed to be a little more plug and play, I think, than the Blackvue, it basically just has USB connections for most everything, so that makes it pretty straightforward. But because there are 3 cameras and they're not just coming from like a central box or something, it seems like there are a lot of wires that come out of that main head unit, so it's just something to keep in mind. Otherwise, it's, you know, just like you would expect. Also still very, very convenient. I want to reiterate that piece of film that you can attach it to on your windshield, so removal is a lot more simple and clean, especially if you're like me and you have windshield tint. That just makes the process a lot better. I still have leftover 3M tape from old dash cams that I've tried in the past, and it's very frustrating to get that off. So big props to Viofo for including that with their kit. Now, once you have it installed, the setup, of course, is also really straightforward with that big screen. There are only a couple steps that you need to get it going. It checks for like the language, your time zone, you know, to set up the date and time, as well as like the units that you want to use, whether it's kilometers or miles per hour. And then once you do that, it's ready to go. There are a lot of settings that you can mess with on the actual screen, but most of what I did was through the app. I felt like that was a lot easier to see everything all at once. And there are a lot of options. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see just how many things you could adjust. For example, you could turn HDR on and off depending on your video quality. quality. You could even adjust things like exposure, which was really cool to see. So depending on where you are, what the conditions are like, and how your car films better, you can really dial that in. So for somebody that really likes tweaking things just to get them exactly right, I think that's definitely a leg up for Viofo. I have not seen options like that in the Blackvue app at all. Also, you can change things like the loop recording time. So the standard is 1 minute, but if you want longer clips like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, you can even set that up in the app. This for me, I think would be super useful as well, because when I use the camera video for like my track days, I like to use the rear view camera as like a rear view picture for when I'm on the track and you can see what cars are doing behind me. And not having a million 60-second clips to stitch together would be super convenient. So if I could go to the track, set that up for the longest, 10-minute interval, and then change it back for regular daily driving, that would be really nice. Again, another big up to Viofo. And then finally, the last thing I thought was notable is they showed the leftover space on the SD card, which is something for me that I've struggled with because I mess with my dash cam a lot and I want to know like when it's full. And on Blackvue, it shows a list of all the videos on your dash cam, but you don't necessarily know how much space is left over. Basically, you want to know like how close you are to overwriting new data and things like that. It's just, there's no way to tell. And so I really like that the Viofo app actually tells you exactly how many gigabytes you have left, so you know how much recording space you can do before it starts overwriting things. And if, again, you're like me and you like to save clips but forget to download them for a little while, it can be a nice little peace of mind. Now, going into the footage, I think the overall footage was really good. Just looking at it, driving around, the colors look accurate. It was pretty smooth. Everything looked pretty much how you would expect with a newer 4K dash cam. But when you compare it to the Blackvue, I think that's where things start to kind of show a stark difference. The Blackvue dash cam does have a lot more contrast or detail in it, it seems, while the Viofo doesn't look like washed out or anything. Like when you look at them side by side in the street, you can see more of the seams, you can see more of the individual leaves on the trees and things like that. So I feel like in this case, Blackvue is definitely doing better from, the camera performance standpoint. And then when we pushed it to the limits, we really saw some big differences. So on my 970X Plus, this is the dash cam I've been running for a few weeks. This is their latest flagship dash cam from Blackvue. You can see even when you're approaching cars with a relatively high differential in speed, it's able to get a pretty good picture of license plates. Depending on the speed and how far away they are, it's still not super clear and you can't make it out, but you can see some of the details. On the other hand, when I looked at the A229 footage, a lot of it was just completely blurred out and completely unable to be read. Now, I was really surprised to see this because keep in mind, both dash cams are 4K, both dash cams are 30 frames per second. They're both using HDR technology. I did have HDR turned on with the Viofo. And, I've seen a lot of other footage from the A229 that actually indicated in a lot of cases they get better performance. And maybe with a little more time with the dash cam, I would have been able to dial it in a little bit. Like I said, some of those settings can probably help improve it for like exposure and stuff. Maybe that would improve the contrast and make things a little more legible on these, high stress scenarios. But in my setup, the way I do things, I just kind of plug it in and go. I haven't messed with any settings on the Blackvue either. This is just kind of how it performed out of the box for me. So I'm curious if you guys have any similar experiences, if you guys have done any back-to-back testing, but in my testing specifically, it seemed like the Blackvue was getting a better picture in these, again, high stress, like really high differential in speed scenarios. I think this is mostly probably software related since a lot of the hardware between them is the same. So maybe even with a firmware update, Viofo would be able to address this. And again, I just installed this right out of the box. So if there is a newer firmware that fixes this, let me know down in the comments, and that might be something that I can try in the future. But the way that I received it and installed it, this is just kind of the picture quality that I got. Also keep in mind also the A229 is much older. The DR970X Plus just came out this year, while the A229 has been out since last year. So there definitely could be some improvements in the pipeline. But yeah, overall, I think the dash cam is good, especially for somebody that's kind of entry level. They want something that doesn't require a whole lot of advanced knowledge ahead of time. With the screen, it makes it really easy to set up and change settings. I was also pleasantly surprised that it did not stay on, because maybe it's just me, but for some reason I thought it would be constantly mirroring the image and showing it on the screen while you're driving around. But after like 60 seconds, it goes to black, so it's not really distracting or anything. And you can probably turn that on if you do prefer having an extra video showing what you're driving on the dash cam. But overall, you know, the install was pretty straightforward. Everything else, and just that bigger form factor, I'm not a fan of. I think if they made that smaller, maybe introduced a similar system to the box units like what Blackvue is making now, and also included any like accessories that are needed to get it going instead of having them all purchased separately, it would be definitely right up my alley. But for now, I'm probably going to stick with my Blackvue dash cam and just continue testing whatever new options come out in the future. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts. Again, if you guys have done any testing, if you see anything that I missed, definitely let me know, and I'd be open to trying out, you know, new settings or different features as the A229 improves in the future. So for now, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.